What's up, beautiful people? Thanks for tuning in. I am the spiritual bodybuilder. And today's talk is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk today about spiritual hacks for fitness freaks. Okay. First and foremost, I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. All right. And I'm also heavy into spirituality because it is, God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, has, as I've found myself and I've grown, I've learned that the body and the mind and the spirit all need to be in a particular spot to be able to receive, this divine guidance, this energetic signature that helps us along our way to follow the divine path that we're meant to in our life. A lot of times when we're lost going through, ego-driven desires and things, we have repeated learned lessons, right? Things, we go in these directions, we make decisions, and they don't exactly bring us to the places that we want to go or that we saw ourselves going, right? It leads to another learned lesson or something that is not, the life tends to take us in twists and turns in ways that we don't expect. So when we walk in faith and we are true to ourselves and we honor the authenticity of our heart, we tend to make decisions that create that abundant space in our life. Now, what does this have to do with fitness? So, for me, fitness is a very spiritual experience. Okay. I was in the military for 10 years and I was always into fitness, and how I felt about myself was a direct reflection of like all these, either the emotional openness or blockages that I had. And our emotional body is a direct correlation to our physical body. They say there's actually a book written called The Body is the Subconscious Mind, right? And my primary business is neuromuscular therapy. So I'm like an anatomy nerd. Okay. And I take all that experience and information and combine it with the energetic properties that I've learned throughout the years. I'm an intuitive empath, and I'm very intuitive with the human body. I have Chiron and Taurus. So, Chiron and Taurus is healing through the human body. So for me, fitness is very, very spiritual. And whenever I get too far off track, it's like the energy gets so strong that I have to bring myself back into balance. Okay, so I want to share the things that I do to keep myself balanced and going in the right direction when things get out of hand. Because let's face it, all right, once you hit 35, 40 years old, we start hitting these aspects of life that start to change us, make us understand life differently, and it affects the body in a different way. You can't just beat the shit out of yourself 24/7 and train all day long and expect to get the same results. It just doesn't work that way. So this information is going to be really vital to people 35 and over. Okay. If you're under that, then you're not at this place yet. It'd still be wise to pay attention to this. Okay. Because it's good information to get, to hit it before, it becomes a problem and it happens. But from my experience, people that are like 30 years old and younger, they don't really care. They're like, fuck it. I don't care. I don't feel anything that you're saying. You're not talking about it. And that's okay. Hey, I got you. I'm speaking from experience, and I work with a lot of athletes and a lot of people that have been athletes for their whole lives and that have dealt with injuries and dealt with traumas in their life that have set themselves back and have created a lot of pain, right? But pain is the way that we learn. Pain is how we process through experiences in our life. So one thing I want to bring into focus is that a lot of athletes think that by working out is their release. That working out is how they process their stress, which is physiologically not possible unless you're just doing yin yoga all the time. Okay. But let me explain. So, it may help to get rid of some emotional stressors. Okay. But the center of the body and of dealing with stress is the central nervous system, right? The fascial system travels through and around the central nervous system, and emotionally we secrete neuropeptides. All right, that is how our emotions travel into the body. So our brain secretes these neuropeptides, and they embed in our fascia, right? And they intertwine with our central nervous system. So whenever we secrete worry or, frustration or these lower vibration sort of energies, they cause constriction in the fascial system through the central nervous system, right? And especially this day and age, everybody is stuck in fight or flight, which is an overabundance of sympathetic nervous system dominance, right? Our sympathetic fight or flight mode is just on all the time. It's always it's always contracting. It's always restricting. Okay. Now you can get away with doing that, for, 10, maybe even 15 years of your life, in your adult life, but eventually that shit's going to catch up to you. It caught up to me. Right. So, I remember when I used to get ready for competitions, I would, I'd be taking 4 or 5 different kinds of stimulants, and I'd taken all these different things to enhance and push and create more anabolic states and create more fat burning and do all these things to optimize, right? But here's the thing, I remember I did 10 bodybuilding competitions over the course of from 2009 to 2014. All right. And in that time, over and over and over again, each show, especially the last few, which were national level shows, were a little more, difficult or, higher competition. My digestion got worse and worse. Why is that? Because I kept pushing myself so hard that it literally my rest and digest mode in my central nervous system was not active. It's not working. Okay. And, you try to mitigate the best you can. You try to just keep pushing forward, but eventually pushing forward just does not cut it anymore. It just doesn't. Your body can't handle it anymore. It reaches a threshold. Okay. So if you're one of those that if you're stressed out, you go work out. Okay. I get it. And, to a certain extent that may help, but that is still creating sympathetic dominance. Okay. What we need to do for balance is activate the parasympathetic nervous system and allow the rest and digest to take over. When we integrate that and implement that consistently into our routine, that is how we optimize growth, by staying balanced in the long term. Now, the thing is, it doesn't really have an instant gratification type of a feel, right? We don't get that feel better immediately. We have to rely on the knowledge that it is saving us over time. So how do we do this? How do we stay training hard and making things work while, maybe not getting that initial heightened sense of, gratification, but staying balanced and consistent? A lot of people in the fitness industry, especially if you compete, you have a sort of addictive personality. Okay. A lot of us in this industry have addictive personalities. You got to be careful. If you don't have addictive personality, then you're probably going to be more apt to following this more balanced protocol. Okay. But first, all these fad diets, they don't work. Okay. They give that instant gratification, but it's under eating and overtraining only lasts for so long. And that's what I see for the most part. All right. And then adding stimulants onto that. And it's dangerous, dude. It's very dangerous. So, how do you optimize your nutrition? Okay. For you, first, you need to get your microbiome tested and checked to see what foods are optimal for your microbiome. Your microbiome is everything. Okay. It's your second brain. Okay. I recommend the Viome test. That's one that I just did. And that's the one that Dave Asprey recommends too. I'm big into biohacking. Okay. So Viome test. All right. Second, make sure that if you're taking supplements or products, okay, watch the stimulants. Don't go too crazy on the stimulants, and get something that is aligned with your DNA. Okay. When you can assess your DNA and identify what your DNA needs at the cellular level, then you're going to be giving your body everything it needs for the cells to function properly. We want to have optimally functioning mitochondria. And when we push ourselves too far out of balance, the mitochondria stop working. And then we have mitochondrial dysfunction, which is essentially what autoimmune disease is. All right. So watch out for that. Then also body work, massage therapy. Okay. You need or fascial stretch therapy, anything that's going to help open and relax and expand the tissue. What we have to do for biochemically, nutritionally, physiologically, and emotionally is even out the contraction and expansion. Okay, we have contraction and expansion of chemicals in our body, of our emotional state, of our physical body. All right. So contraction is when you are activating the sympathetic nervous system. Expansion is when you're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. All right. These are all parallels. Okay. So the parasympathetic nervous system needs to be activated. How do we do that? We have to slow down. We have to quiet our mind. We have to be still. If you're on stimulants, you ain't doing that. If you're working out, you ain't doing that. Okay. You're getting your blood pumping. Now, granted, there's a time and a place we need to get a blood pumping, but we also need to be able to quiet our mind and quiet the body and allow it to recover and restore. Okay. I know for me, I ran into serious insomnia and sleep issues, because you go for so long, all of a sudden your body just gets stuck like that. And when it gets stuck like that, now what do? Now you can't sleep. Now your brain's not getting into REM or deep sleep. You're not recovering. So now your body needs more proteins and more nutrients, but now it can't really get into it. Right? Yes, yin yoga is perfect for this. I agree. So that was another hack I was going to throw in there, is doing yin yoga. I do yin yoga about once a week, and I also stretch 20 minutes a day, usually before or after my workout. At this point in the game, I actually lift weights maybe 30 minutes, okay, just to keep myself nice and full and tight. All right, but I'm not trying to be huge. I'm trying to be functional and healthy, because I did get huge and it fucked me up pretty bad. So we want to be able to digest food properly. We want to be able to think and function and go through our day feeling great, emotionally and physically. Okay. So, some kind of cardio is a good idea to activate circulation while not contracting so much too. All right. That keeps everything flowing well. So that sort of feeds or enhances the expansion, as long as we are doing the expansive processes. Okay. So also infrared sauna. All right. Infrared saunas are not the same as regular saunas. Okay. Regular saunas use tap water, which is loaded with heavy metals and toxins, and it makes you sweat, but it's making you sweat from the outside in. So you're actually absorbing all the toxins now, if you're using like alkaline water or something, that might be a little bit different, but the reason why you want to do infrared sauna is because the frequency of the infrared is different. It's a different part of the light spectrum. So it's actually cooking you from the inside out. So it's heating up your cells and purging them through your lymphatic system. And what's especially great is if you add in red light or amber light or blue light or violet light therapy in there with it. If you're in Las Vegas, there's an awesome place here called Drop Athletic Couture. It's an amazing spot. Go check it out. But this helps you purge and relax. The heat helps the expansion of blood vessels. It helps the purging of the toxins, and it helps you to relax and sort of let go. Right now, it might dehydrate you a little bit, so you want to make sure you stay super hydrated. Okay, but I use infrared sauna quite often. It's an amazing way to just sort of chill out, let go, relax, and just sweat out all these impurities and all this gunk. And all that physical gunk is a physical manifestation of the emotional gunk too. They're all interconnected. Okay, like in the gut, when the gut is out of balance, the bacteria in there is speaking through the vagus nerve into the brain and talking to us. That's why when the gut is out of balance, you tend to get depressed, or you tend to feel like low self-worth. These are thought forms that we generate from our second brain, the enteric nervous system. It's ingrained into our nervous system. Okay, so yin yoga. All right, getting the nutrition down through your microbiome and your DNA, critical. Okay, infrared sauna, allowing us to purge toxins. What else? Cryotherapy. All right, cryotherapy is so what cryotherapy is about 3 minutes. There's a booth that you can get in, or they have this thing that looks like a walk-in freezer. All right, I prefer the walk-in freezer, but if you only have a booth in your physical area, then go do that. Okay, but it starts at about -150 and goes down to about -275. All right, and what that does, it super cools your body so fast that the immune system doesn't know how to react. So it activates all these immune functions to help fight whatever the hell is going on. So by the time you get out, your immune system is supercharged, right? So it really helps with inflammation. And when your body is out of balance, especially if you're sympathetic dominant, you are going to have an imbalance and inflammation in the body. Because when the central nervous system is too constricted like that, it doesn't allow things to have flexibility, which also is a direct correlation to our emotional flexibility, right? So if you start thinking in terms like this, all right, we need to keep the central nervous system balanced. The central nervous system being balanced allows digestion to flow through, keeping our mind balanced, all right? And also, that flexibility is in direct correlation to our emotional and mental flexibility, okay? So stretching is super important too. Allowing yourself to ground and get out in nature is nice. When you lay down to go to sleep, if you have a hard time sleeping, all right, and you're a fitness freak and you're trying to get spiritual. Another thing on the spirituality axis, okay? What makes someone spiritual? Well, it's your intention, really, and it's your belief system, okay? Now you can be a part of a religion and be spiritual 100%, all right? Whatever works for you, works for you, and let that work for you, okay? But in order to allow ourselves to receive this faith that we believe in, we have to be open to receiving. And when we're in sympathetic dominant state, we are not open to receiving. We are shut off. We are out there chasing life. We are not allowing ourselves to receive life. And good things happen to us when we allow ourselves to step back and be a magnet, as opposed to being outward focused. In order to be inward focused, we have to have a clear mind, because when our mind is going 10,000 miles a minute, we want to get out instead of wanting to get in, okay? So that's one good thing about working out is I love the mind-muscle connection, right? I love being able to feel my body working. So it allows you to go in, okay? And that creates a flow state. Now, flow state is great, but it's still not activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we need for the balance, okay? So that flow state will help us in our quest to create a good meditation practice. Okay, meditation is incredibly important too. Now, me personally, I can't just sit there and ohm my way into it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Keith. So I use binaural beats. All right, binaural beats really help me to focus on one thing and focus on my breathing, activate my diaphragm, because the diaphragm, that's right here, controls the vagus nerve. Okay, it also controls our ability to adjust or to control almost the central nervous system. So the better our breathing practice, because breath is life, right? The more control and effort that we put into our breathing, the more efficiently we'll be able to shift our body from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And when we can do that, that is where the power comes in. That is true strength and power. Right? What's up, Jay? You're an Indian spiritualist, huh? That's awesome, man. Good shit. Thank you for joining us here. So meditation is super, super critical to be able to clearing the mind. And a clear mind is a healthy mind, right? When it's too jumbled, that's when all this other external forces of energy, especially if you're intuitive, you can feel stuff. But when you have too many things going on, you can't articulate what all these energies are, right? So then we get attached to figure out this feels off, what's going on? And, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to think of that. You just, doesn't matter. None of it matters, okay? And when we get caught up in that, that's the problem. And sympathetic dominance in the central nervous system keeps us in that mentally chaotic place. I can't tell you how many athletes and how many clients I work with, especially ones that have had injuries and stuff, that are they're so focused on, fuck, what do I got to do to get this better? How do I open this up? I need to be back in shape. I need to get this. And it brings up all these image issues. It brings up all these insecurities, all these limitations. Accept it. Acceptance is a huge, huge part of allowing that spiritual flow within, okay? Because that spiritual flow, it's really like, it's what makes us be a great athlete. It's what makes us be a great father, a great sister or brother, a great lover, a great everything. All right. But It's a constant daily practice. It doesn't just come easy. You have to work for it. And sometimes working for it is not working for it. Yeah, you get that? Meaning that sometimes we think we got to work for something and we go out and we work. But sometimes the work is going in and being still. So it feels like it's not work. It feels like we're just being lazy and doing nothing. But it's really, that's the most important work, especially for people, the fitness freaks like me, that like to just go, go, go. It's 10 times more difficult to not go than it is to go, right? So be gentle with yourself when the time is right. And being in the present moment is super important with this too, right? Being in the present moment allows us to focus on what's going on at hand. So when you're in the gym, you're in the gym. Be a savage. Get it. Get in there, right? Or if you're out on a hike, be in that hike. Be present with every cell of your body. You know, if you're doing this, be present with this. Be present wherever you are. So that when you're not working out, you're not dwelling on, oh man, I had a shitty workout, or oh man, like I'm too tired to get up today. Look, we all get thrown out of balance. Don't beat yourself up for it. That's another hack, okay? Stop beating yourself up for not being perfect. A lot of athletes do that. I got to train harder. I got to eat cleaner. I got to do this better, faster, harder, stronger. Look, we're all human, okay? Nobody's ever going to be perfect. So be gentle on yourself, all right? You couldn't lift super heavy today. Oh, well, it's okay. Get back to it tomorrow. You ate a cheat meal, or you couldn't handle, like you just really wanted that food. Then your body needed that food right now, either to teach you a lesson or to make you feel better. Whatever the case is, accept it. Accept it and be okay with it, okay? Do not beat yourself up for not being perfect. I see this so much, especially in competitors. They want to stay in that super hardcore shredded mode. It's impossible. It's not realistic. But when you gain weight, you gain a couple pounds, oh my God. Like you feel like psychologically, you feel like you just gained 30 pounds when you just, came back to normal. It's crazy. And it can really, really mess with you emotionally too. Thank you very much, Lemuria Rising. And breathe and be here now. It really is all about being here now and breathing, especially with this 2020 coming up. In order to optimize our life and our purpose here for what we're doing, we have to take care of it. Okay. And everybody's different. Not everybody is going to function optimally as a vegan. Not everybody is going to function optimally doing ketogenic diet. Not everybody's going to function optimally on a zone diet. There is no such thing. All those things don't work for all people all the time. The body doesn't work like that. So you have to get your microbiome tested. Your microbiome determines what nutrients your body needs based on the bacteria. They're saying now, I'm reading like 32 trillion different kinds of bacteria. I guess it's crazy. Okay. We have to get our microbiome tested. We have to go with what our DNA says it needs. So if you're like one of those that you're just trying out everything out there to see what works and what doesn't, a lot of supplements out there are crap, dude. They have artificial colors, fillers, like they're not optimized for absorption. Or, if you're like a nervous wreck and you're taking 30, 60 pills a day, you don't have enough hydrochloric acid in your gut to be able to even break that down. What are you doing? Okay. So, these are all things that like I've learned along my journey. And if you would like, I am a coach. I do coaching. So if you'd like to work with me, message me here, or you can leave a comment on this video on YouTube, and I'd be happy to, talk to you guys and work with you and help you out. But, you have to do what's right for your body and for your specific circumstances. It all depends on where you're at. If you just experience a major trauma, you're going to need different shit than if you're in a great place making a lot of money and getting ready for a bodybuilding competition. Totally different. Okay. But the same principles apply. So whatever direction you're going in whatever place you're in your life right now, take a minute to sit back and reflect. Where am I at? Can I not sleep? Do I have constant pain in a certain part of my body? Am I just always complaining or bitching or tired, or what is going on with me? Okay. You might need to detox. Okay. I'm big on detoxing. Like we put so much crap in our body and we usually don't get rid of it all that, you know, a lot of us need to detox, especially nowadays there's just so many ways that we're getting poisoned, really, from, you know, processed foods to, you know, to lights that are emitting, you know, like, you know, mitochondrial killing photons, to, you know, EMF, like all this Bluetooth, like all this technology. We're basically being radiated. Okay. And I mean, you know, like if we're not eating the right, there's just so much misinformation, so much like surface level information that is just not good. Willpower will only get you so far. So a little recap of this whole spiel that I got on here to talk about, okay, is spiritual hacks for fitness freaks. All right. These spiritual hacks are designed to balance out the central nervous system. A trend in the fitness industry is people are just way too sympathetic dominant. I see it so much. When the sympathetic nervous system is turned on for too long a time, it gets stuck like that. So now the rest and digest mode, the parasympathetic mode, it starts to diminish. Then we can't digest food. Then we can't eat. Then we're always stuck in our heads. Then we have tension that builds and builds and builds until it breaks something. Okay? We have to be careful about that. And we have to do everything that we can, implement a practice or a behavior that brings us back into balance, bring our central nervous system back to the ability to transfer between parasympathetic and sympathetic in the right times. Okay, so that includes yin yoga. That includes binaural beats and meditation and breath work, infrared sauna, cryotherapy. Floating is another one. Okay, sensory deprivation tank. You're laying in about 10 inches of water that's 98.6 degrees, same as our body temperature, and it has about 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt in it. And when they close the pod, it's light proof and soundproof, so it's depriving you of your senses, and that helps the body to get into parasympathetic mode super fast. All right, and some people that are really stuck in sympathetic dominant state are going to be really uncomfortable for like the first 20 or 30 minutes doing that. Stick it out. Go through the process. Go do it 4, 5, 6, 7 times if you have to. All right. Work through that discomfort, because once you get your body to snap back to balance, you're going to feel so much better. Okay. So cryotherapy, that's also going to help with inflammation, because sympathetic dominance will create an imbalance in inflammation. All right. The microbiome testing will tell you what foods and what nutrients to consume and what nutrients to avoid. All right. The DNA specific supplementation will give your DNA what it needs to function at the optimal level, optimizing mitochondrial function. And the basis of all autoimmune disease is mitochondrial dysfunction. Okay. So I hope all this is making sense. And then of course, detoxification is important. You know, some people are just way too thrown out of whack. You know I was for quite a long time. So if it's so too out of whack, we have to detox. We have to clean the pipes, you know, coffee enemas, colonics, vitamin C flushes, anything that's going to clean out the small and large intestine, get rid of those toxins so we're not recirculating them through the body, you know, beating up the immune system and the lymphatic system, which is also contributing to IBS, to autoimmune diseases, to SIBO, to candida, to heavy metal toxicity, to the lymphatic system not working. They're all interconnected. Okay. SIBO and IBS and, you know, gut issues like that are all, they're all symptoms of a overly sympathetic dominant state that's been going on too long. The body can't process anything. Okay. So once we start feeding the body what it needs and bringing the body and the mind back into a place in the present moment and switching off the sympathetic dominance, switching on the parasympathetic to allow the rest and digest and allow everything to move through, you will be amazed. You will be like, I'll be 41 soon, and I feel better physically than I probably ever have in my life. And it's getting better because I'm paying more and more attention to all these things. And that is my spiritual practice. That is how I stay balanced and focused and allow myself, because when we have that physiological balance in our central nervous system, then we are able to receive this universal information this universal guidance, and it keeps us out of our head and on the right path in our heart. It is all interconnected, my friends. Okay. So I hope this helps. If you like this information, please like, share, and subscribe. Message me here if you would like to work with me for a reading or coaching or whatever. We can make it work. Okay. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I'll be back. Talk to you soon. Namaste.